You good? Are we good with it? Oh, no. I feel it.
Man, y'all went full Tennessee on us tonight.
Back, now back. Back. I'm glad to see it. I don't know what that is about that. I thought about that. Me too. There's
I am. Tell me this again, we see something like that. I'm a lion. If you don't practice, you try. We got a lot to do for us. What's up? How are you? I know. Yeah, I know. Bring sleep back. Yeah. You know, so they just like, you know, it's been a while, 12 days, I'm gonna go back. So I'm your feature. I'm not late. I'm not late. I'm yeah.
Yeah. We're in.
Let's go.
Red.
You went. Oh, you missed the sure. That was great. Hi, folks.
Whoa.
I know that was a little bit of kind of shocking, but we also we wrapped before. And in the interest of time, we want to go ahead and get things started because we got a pretty hefty meeting this evening. So we're going to get started. Y'all grab food, we'll get on this, and look the match happen, okay? So I call this meeting to order at 7:04. And welcome back, everybody. Hope you had a great summer. So we do have one remote participant. Do you not? Okay, not yet. Okay, so when she comes in, we'll do that. We'll do that part. Now I just need all Brody. There we go, sir. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. As we know, this month, made it to this month. So, challenge and you said, listen, 6,000 pounds to remain prepared to my strength. So, this evening, I do have 3 minutes to start with everyone. The first is over the risk. Figure out what you need to do. That's second tip is make the family amendments. Yes, one of this one member of the family knows the best thing and see that. The third and the final tip, emergency supply kits. Having food, enough water and medicine, have to stay safe and then wait until help arrives. So these are the 3 main tips I have for everyone. And it's free. Thank you.
Yes. And thank you for that, Paul. Paul, thank you for that. You know, safety steps are very important, so that's what we're doing first. So please take heed to everything you said. Very important. All right. You can rise to the pledge of allegiance. What we're going to do after the pledge of allegiance, as I welcome everyone back, you know, one of our own commissioners will not be returning back to us. And that's Supervisor Library. He passed away over the break. And so we're going to do a moment of silence after the pledge of allegiance. If you can just bear with me on that. Right there. I pledge allegiance to the flag, the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Roll, ma'am.
Victor Angry,
Here.
Henry Bailey. Here. Kenny Bodie.
Present.
Margaret Franklin.
Here.
Tom Gordy.
Here.
Deshandra Jefferson, Karen Mills, Idris O'Connor, Kimberly Short, George Stewart, Yesley Vega, Tanisha Allen, Dr. Pamela Young, Meg Bunky, Daryl English, Ralph Smith, Sonia Vasquez Luna, Daryl Moore, Alana Mensing, Janet Holmes, Will McIntosh, Deborah Frazier,
Here.
Lori Hayes, Jacob Lane, Kevin Marshall, Tiffany Robinson, Rosia Henson Jr.,
Here.
Josh Thomas, Jeremy McPike. Mr. Chairman, we do have a quorum.
Thank you, ma'am. And can I get a motion to approve of the agenda? Okay, we have a motion. I was gonna give you the motion, Commissioner Bailey, we have a second, Commissioner Short. Any changes, anything on it? Hearing none. All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, yeah, I got it. Thank you, guys. Back agenda, a motion to approve the minutes, so moved. Second. All right, we have a motion, Commissioner Bodie, second, Commissioner Henson. Any, any comments or questions on that? Hearing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it. Thank you very much. And then, Rich, floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening, commission members, others. Have the CEO report in your packet. Let me give you a quick update. For the month of August, reliability, we saw a great uptick in reliability month of August. There was a myriad of reasons why, but we hit 87%, and we hadn't hit that quite a while. Pretty close to the goal. So we're very excited about that. Ridership, again, typically in August, our ridership is somewhat down, but year over year, we still about double what we were a year ago. But ended up a little over 10,000 average daily riders, and we've been noticing since the Labor Day break, past couple of days, definitely ridership is picking back up. On the same note about ridership, I think I mentioned this at your July meeting. We do have a push going on right now to hit our 100 million rider, and just give you an update on that. Through the end of August, we hit 99,768,624 riders. So we are still projecting that on or about the 1st of October, maybe even end of September, that we'll hit that 100 million rider. And as I mentioned before, we're going to take that opportunity. We want to celebrate that with our passengers and stuff. And we're going to let them know that on that particular day, we're not going to know who the 100 millionth rider is. We're going to just treat everybody as a 100 millionth rider. So if you're out there riding VRE, you'll have a very special, momentous ticket for that day. It will be a golden ticket to get on the ride on that day. Just wanted to mention that. And then just on behalf of the VRE Operations Board Chair, just want to give you just a quick little update on the CEO search. And so there has been a search committee established at the Operations Board level. Search committee is working with a consulting firm doing that search. They'll probably meet on or about at the September Operations Board meeting to start doing some work as it relates to sifting through resumes and that kind of stuff. Bottom line is the objective or target is to have that search completed, and could be an action, recommendation to the commissions by the end of the calendar. So that's just a quick update on the process. That is my report, Mr. Chair. We do have just a couple of action items.
Yes.
So if you have any questions.
Just a brief overview on the action item. We're gonna pack them all in one motion, so
Yes,
just
sir.
get an overview and then we'll go from there.
Okay. So let's do that. 6.2. This is an approval of agreement for relocation of Vetco facilities in the BRE Manassas Park Station parking lot. So the commissions currently have an agreement with Vetco at that parking lot. And if you're familiar with the parking lot, there's transmission lines that go through the parking lot. And so earlier this summer, Vetco came in and they're upgrading that whole line, but what they did was they updated the poles and they moved some of the poles. So what this agreement does, just captures or updates the easement to identify where the new poles are at. And frankly, you know, it's just simply an update. It's a perpetual easement. It's not costing VRE anything. And frankly, the work is already done. And this amendment just captures exactly the work that's done. 6.3, seeking approval of a contract for the purchase and sale with the Virginia Passenger Rail Authority for the 4 Manassas Line property interests. Just to remind you that the commissions previously approved a funding agreement where the commissions would contribute $155 million over a 5-year period. And as part of that agreement, the commissions would obtain property interests. There's 4 specifically. One is the Broad Run lead. One property interest bundles the stations on the Manassas line, with the exception of Manassas, bundles those together so the commissions would actually then own the property underneath the station. The other property is a seminary yard, which we talked about, and that became our alternative to their storage. And then finally, we'll actually have an operating lease over the operating easement over the line, which provides just basically provides VRE the opportunity to operate perpetuity until VRE ceases to exist. So anyway, as part of that funding agreement, we had to make we made a $26 million payment that's already been made. This purchase and sale agreement would then now have us go and close on those properties, at least 3 out of the 4 property interests. The 4th property interest, that operating easement, we probably won't do that. It'll be another year or so before we do that one. And so we'll likely come back to you and get the authorization for that. And then 6.4 and 6.5, they're separate. They are separate items, but they kind of go together. First, 6.4, seeking authorization to execute an easement agreement for real property at our Broad Run location. As most of you know, we're doing a broad expansion project out there. And we need about 8,200 square feet to put in a retaining wall. And so 6.4 will do that. There's a cost to the commissions, a little over $200,000. Again, that would be in perpetuity. And that's with lumens. 6.5 is an agreement. This is an existing agreement that we have, or the commissions have, with parent company Lumens, that has come to us and actually want to increase our footprint on a lease on property that the commissions own, up from about 4,000 square feet to about 8,000 square feet. They're adding communication modules and stuff to their infrastructure there. So then that becomes something that Lumens then pays to the commissions. So between the two, there's a net positive benefit there. And I'll just note, this is something that we were able to finalize this deal in the month of August, or at least finalize it to the point where we can bring it to you for your consideration. This was not vetted normally like we would with the operations board, simply because the operations board didn't have a meeting in August. And the Fredericksburg location, it's very time sensitive for Lumens to be able to get in and do their project in September. So and just so you know that they've got a very important customer there. They need to do an addition there. So anyway, it's not common that we would bypass the ops board and come directly to the commissions, but I think you can understand about the stuff scheduled in August. So I believe that's it. Yeah, that's the bundle there, Mr. Chair.
That's the bundle. So hearing the bundle, can I get a motion to approve item 6.2 to 6.6, which also not 6.6 is 6.5. Okay. 6.5, we'll do that one separate. I've got a motion, so I've got a motion here, Commissioner Brody, second, Commissioner Franklin. Now, any discussion, I mean, anything you just heard? Okay, hearing none. Do we have to do a roll call vote? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Now, 6.6 is to authorize a closed meeting. Correct, so. Yes, so I am, I'll turn it over to you.
Pension Commission decides. New for discussion. Personnel. On such discussions. Meeting, now therefore we resolve that. Pension Commission is hereby authorized discussions in the course of that. So we'll need a roll call vote.
Yes, thank you. So I have a motion, Commissioner Brody, and have a second. Okay, Commissioner, we're gonna go with Bailey, Commissioner Bailey. Well, I guess we'll do a roll call vote, so there we go.
Victor Angry,
Aye.
Andrew Bailey, Penny Bowlby, Franklin, Gordy, Kimberly Short, Sonia Vasquez Luna, Shannon Holmes, Deborah Frazier, Rosa Henson Jr., Josh Thomas. Mr. Chairman, that motion is approved.
Thank you, ma'am. Are we jumping in on this now? We're gonna. Yes. Nice. Yes, all right, we shall return shortly, folks, thank you very much. See you.
I was right. Yeah, that was right.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, miss.
We are ready. We have a motion to certify that they shall discuss those matters for which you went in the first meeting.
Yes, so,
Second.
okay, got motion, Commissioner.
Wording.
Or yes, Commissioner Bailey, yes. And meeting, roll call vote.
Victor Angry.
Aye.
Andrew Bailey. Penny Boat.
Yes.
Margaret Franklin. Tom Doherty.
Aye.
Kimberly Short. Sonia Vasquez Luna.
Yes.
Janet Holmes.
Yes.
Deborah Frazier. Rosa Henson Jr. Josh Thomas. Mr. Chairman, that motion is approved.
Mr. Chairman, believe we have a resolution coming to close the meeting.
We have resolution as follows: appointment of acting Virginia Railway Express Chief Executive Officer. Whereas the Northern Virginia Transportation Commission of the Potomac and Rappahannock Transportation Commission appointed Richard A. Dalton as the Virginia Railway Express Chief Executive Officer effective September the 3rd of 2020. And whereas Mr. Dalton has tendered his resignation from the position of BRE CEO effective at the close of business on October 3rd, 2025. And whereas the field recruitment and selection process has been concluded and a new BRE CEO has been hired, an acting BRE CEO will need to be appointed. Now therefore be it resolved that the Potomac and Rappahannock Transportation Commission does hereby appoint Dallas Richards as the acting BRE Chief Executive Officer effective at the close of business on October 3rd, 2025, and be it further resolved while serving in the acting capacity, the acting DRE CEO shall be compensated an amount in addition to his regular salary as provided for in DRE Personnel Policy 6, Section 3.
Okay, we'll make the motion. So we have the motion, authority, second, Commissioner Bailey. Roll call vote again.
No, sir.
Okay, all those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstention? Any Army fans? No. Well, there it is, the ayes have it. Can we give him a few words?
Sure.
I don't know if you're prepared for that.
Prepared. I don't know if I'm shared there, but thank you. I'm excited for the opportunity. I think Rich, I remember my interview with Rich, he asked, use one word to describe yourself, what would it be? And I told him passion. And I share that passion for VRE and I hear it every day and I look forward to sharing it. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Good.
And that's the end of the BRE section.
All right.
Anybody has any-
Well, I think that is gonna do it now. So thank you very much. And I know normally you roll out your next.
That's what we're about.
Yeah. Have a great evening and thank you.
Everybody be safe.
Yeah, everybody. Okay, son. Where are we? Yeah, we did that, we did that. Public comment now. If you have any.
Mr. Chairman, 3 people submitted comments before the deadline of 5 p.m. today. And those comments have been printed and are at all of the seats.
So you have those if you want, but. Okay, that's.
But can we get a general summary of these and how we plan to address some of these?
I'll cover some of that.
Okay. There we go. I like that. All right. Great. All right, moving on to consent agenda. Can I get a motion?
So moved. Second.
Okay, we've got Vice Chair Holmes and Commissioner Bailey. I think all those in favor, right? No roll call. Okay, all those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstention? All right, the ayes have it. Moving on to presentations. Well, I'm sorry. That's correct. I've never had this many sheets. Rolling. It's a lot of. Yes, sir.
So I've had a couple follow-up items with Senator Pike. There, I'll pull those in advance till the next meeting. We follow up. One follow-up item we did have against AC issues that was talked about back in July. It's basically been reduced to 0 if you recall. Their parts inventory supply chain issue was also 100 degrees.
July was a whole lot better and August has been moderate weather. And so we had that. However, a big part of our industry is whack-a-mole. And right now we're playing whack-a-mole with on-time performance. That is what the emails you see. It's about afternoons. And so we've been tracking significant increases in travel time from the Prince William County corridors and then south up to DC in the afternoon. So because we've been watching this, the way we set our travel times is we look at the traffic patterns basically 60 days prior, because then we have to go to print for bus schedules, driver picks, all this stuff that goes into the technology and push up. And all that planning has been for naught. We're running late every afternoon on almost every single trip from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock after. So we pulled the data of the on time, not really on time, it's the travel time through the corridor. From Stonebridge Garage right across the street to DC, it's an average of 15 minutes longer than scheduled. Lake Ridge to DC, over 10 minutes longer than scheduled. Route 234 lot, average of 12 minutes longer than scheduled. And we're seeing even increases on the average of 13 minutes longer than scheduled out of Staffordsboro. We don't have much of an issue on the 66 corridor. It's a lot more reliable because we have 5 directional toll lanes. 95 does not have that. If we had those, totally different conversation. We're used to losing our time in DC to protests, world leader meetings, just all sort of nationals games. I believe that's in the last 14 days. We've checked the box like 4 out of 5 days, but some kind of delay. So what we're looking at, a couple of things compound this. We've always had the traffic delay, but we haven't had it so radically different from before and after summer. So what we're watching right now is this a long-term change, or is this the 2 weeks before Labor Day and the 2 weeks after it? Our last service change happened a little bit closer to August 1, so we didn't see the pinch, and we also didn't have the federal return to work. So that is what we're watching right now from the data standpoint. What's also hurt us is due to the budget restrictions and the changes we made. We used to sit buses in DC, so that if something got bogged down, we would release one. Buses stopped away, it was on my car, things like that, so you wouldn't feel the pinch. The driver would, if it's running too late, release the driver, and then when the driver running late down in DC, they park and reset. Well, with the number of new operators, it's just a lot more challenging. Plus, we don't have the budget capacity to do it. We also used to have 8-minute frequencies. So you had a bus coming every 8 minutes. You could just walk out there, and even if everything was running 30 minutes late, it was every 38 minutes because you had some consistency. We just don't have that right now. So what are we doing? It's the most important. Well, we're examining to see what the trip issues are, and we're looking for ridership counts to see how we're looking performance for budget, and see if we can add in the additional strategics. We have some budgeted, but Keolis has had operator limitations. You'll see that that's improving, so that's great. And then we're of course looking at what else have we do. But south, we don't see the issues as much in Spotsylvania and then routes matter because FedEx is a lot more reliable with that distance. And because of that, there's a lot more time that they can recover and get reset for the cycle. But really, you're talking Staffordsboro area up to Prince William is that major choke point. So we are working on that consistently, but also then the staff is fully aware. We've also identified some operational internal issues that aren't exactly helping us. We're not getting off the ready line and out of the gate on time in the afternoons. That's tied to how we've done some run cuts. We also don't have the same ability to be flexible as Mr. Wingfield described, I want to say back in July, June, because a large part of our fleet that serves the I-95 corridor is currently sitting in Manassas because we've dug up the entire yard to put in in-ground storage tanks. So because of that, we just don't have the same volume of resources for it. Those combination of things we're paying attention to. Safe, reliable. Number 2, reliable. Right now, we don't have that afternoon reliability. That's something we're working on. Everyone's aware. We've been focused on this for a couple of weeks. And as you can see, we've already got data that we're pulling through to understand the issue. We'll again continue to watch. And then right now, if you recall, we have the unfunded goal of real-time action time. I want to give a good example that I think everyone will understand. If a bus comes every 30 minutes, and by the end of the afternoon, buses are running 30 and 40 minutes late, well, it doesn't mean that a bus isn't coming. It's just my 4 o'clock trip isn't coming till 4:40. But that means my 3:30 is coming in 10 minutes. But passengers don't have the ability right now to track. We are really close to figuring out a path of travel. So I expect between now and our next meeting, we will have a defined runway that we can actually identify with timelines, et cetera, for when we can start to have real-time passenger information. So we've started uploading it to an existing app that that is pretty common in the industry. But we're looking at what are some better ways that we can modify the resources. Again, it's unfunded, so we have to figure out how can we afford these types of things to the tune of between $130,000 and $180,000. Things to life, and it can be as much as $250,000 or more, depending on what additional layers we have to add in for our. But it's something that we are working on every single day. It's the number one source of complaints, eats up operator time. It's expensive in terms of payroll and labor because the workforce is getting that. So this is something that's triggered by some customer complaints. We've been responding to them all summer. It's just the first commission meeting, so we anticipated this. We've been working to address these issues as you can tell. We care about. Ridership update. We've already surpassed over 400,000 passenger trips since July 1st. We are happy, very happy. Outstanding ridership for our system. We are the most efficient commuter system in the DMV. For FY25, we had the 6th largest ridership increase statewide. That is really impressive for a commuter service. The top 2 were Jaunt, which is the rural service that around Charlottesville, and Radford Transit. University service. They've both had significant expansions over the past year, especially Radford University as they've implemented a more robust service in their area. But that's fantastic that we are in that grouping for a commuter service. July commuter ridership increased 3% June, and preliminary August ridership was at about 5% compared to July. But we always see that due to the last minute vacation dip. It's just a common occurrence for us. And then, of course, the school systems opened back up into late August. Eastern commuter ridership still very strong. Top routes, Dale City State Department, Dale City, Pentagon, Arlington, and Montclair, Pentagon. Pentagon drives a lot of ridership in this region. It's the largest employment site in the United States. So it's always going to be something that does that. But to have the Dale City State Department to be such a strong front runner there is really good to see. It's not just Dale City. I-66 commuter ridership on the 3 commuter routes serving the university lot carried over 35,000 passengers for the month. Outstanding. Our service change for August 11th was relatively smooth. Most issues were resolved with a little retraining. Credit Keolis, they had a great hiring. You'll see some statistics as mentioned, but that created great hiring push, retention, but that means new operators who are on new routes for the first time. So we had some hiccups for some common transfers, and they've done a great job responding. Things that were an issue on day 1, day 2 were not an issue on day 3 and day 4. So very, very happy with how that's gone. We're very responsive and done a great job. We did add 1 p.m. additional trip for the Route 943 Stafford Borough to DC, overcrowding. And then we did the same exact thing with Route 612, which is Gainesville to Pentagon Navy Yard. We had a trip at 2:30 and 4:30 directly tied to overcrowding. And both of these, or all 3 trips, both routes, these expansions are fully funded by the toll payer or concessionaire funding through the air. So this isn't local money. We just don't have the revenues to add in those additional trips for local services, but we can do that with the grant funded items. July local bus ridership with Metro Express local ridership added did drop about 10% from June to July. With, if you were to think back, it was oppressively hot and lots of rain. That does severely impact our local ridership, but it rebounded in August. Better weather, it's been much drier. So all those activities, we are seeing the natural patterns. The Eastern local big 3 remain Route 91 Dale City, Route 52 Route 1, and 53 Dumfries. Still performing very, very well with a combined ridership nearing around 29,000 passengers for the month. Great numbers. Western local routes still performing fantastic with 7,500 per month, continue to do great. I wanted to point out one particular thing in our ridership report. About a year ago, we made a change to our services, and when we did that, we took our route, which is historically just took passengers from right out front up to the Springfield station. Well, what we did is with some rerouting, we took advantage and we took customers up Smoketown Road. There was a pattern that developed almost immediately, but we wanted to see if it would be long term. Would that happen? The local ridership picked up and picked up and picked up. Same thing happened on the Action corridor between Manassas Mall before we get on the interstate on Route 60. So these 2 express routes have been picking up a lot of local ridership, but we've been reporting it as express routes. We saw the pattern, and over spring, the staff identified a method to make adjustments. So starting this month, what we've done is two things. We've split the ridership on those routes, attributed some of it to local, some of it to express, but we like apples to apples. So applying that same methodology, they went back to July of last year and did the same exact thing. So otherwise, we'd be looking at dips and increases that wouldn't make sense. The ridership on the route's the same. Where we attribute it column wise is a little bit different. And it's important because it gives us a sense of what's happening locally versus express. Accuracy matters, but we use it for planning data. So that when we talk about adding in more services, if we see a lot of ridership and it demands more ridership, but the ridership is local, we don't need to take that extra trip to Tyson's or that extra trip to Springfield. We can keep it local and serve the corridor more for a lower resource. So it's a bang for buck. Last thing in my report, we are very excited to announce that OmniRide's been selected as one of Prince William's best places to work. If you do receive, which I always do, my copy of Prince William Living Magazine, the finest Prince William Living magazine in Prince William County. I don't think there's any competition. My good friend Rebecca Barnes, the publisher, great person. So not only are we proud of putting it right here. So that was right when we were hitting our peak, and then there was this thing called the pandemic. It stole all of our thunder and our lightning. We've got it back. So this is an indicator of continued growth, success. And with that, Mr. Chair, I will turn it over to you. Answer any questions?
Thank you for that leader going back to 2019 and that, because my comment to the group, to the commission is everything we heard about the buses being overcrowded, needing more routes, needing some funding for technology to get this app together. Like, we're back. In 2019, we all sat in here, for those that were here, and we had a vision of taking OmniRide and PRTC to the next level. Then COVID hit, sent us all backwards, and it's taken us a long time to get back to this point where we are right now. And I think we're at a good point. So I think what we really need to start really talking about is funding and getting to that next level where we were already talking back 6 years ago, if you will. My one question to you was, when you mentioned about the fuel tanks for the yard, what is that part of it? Is that still on the?
It'll close down in November.
November? Okay, so we'll be able to get all our buses back over here. Now to be all that.
Yes. And there's one other major thing that I call that too.
I know.
For terminal.
Oh, do you want to go first or you want to?
I mean, I can get, it's just on the storage tanks. I had a question about, is that a once in a generation capital improvement, or is this a regular servicing of the underground storage tanks? Or I just didn't catch, are they getting fully installed?
Fully removed and replaced. We had it, they hit their useful life 27.
Once every 30 years. This isn't something that happens every day. Okay. And then my second question was for the I-66 hiccups. Could you maybe define that with a couple examples of what we mean by hiccups that existed day one and day two that no longer exist?
So we have some of our routes go to the Pentagon, and then, for example, the route will then travel from the Pentagon up to LaFond and over to Navy Yard. Well, coming back, some of our routes stop off at the Pentagon and they need that connecting bus. The operator didn't wait, and so passengers came out of DC or something else that didn't make their connection because the operator didn't understand. They saw their schedule, maybe the bus was running a few minutes late, and they went, well, I'm on time, I'll go. Not having that awareness and that connection. So it was operations supervisors identifying the trips that have these connections, grabbing the operator, coaching them in the moment of, and then also providing checks to say don't leave until. And so it's been it's two things: training the operator, but also providing the field oversight and supervision. So, and that was on both the 95 corridor as well as I-66. What's great is we have passengers that I know, and they text me and say, hey, this went wrong. And we're able to respond, staying at the meeting and have that. So it's good to have people in the community who are able to give that constructive feedback. And they always say, I want to know, because if someone says, well, I guess I'll just wait here. That's not training. Training something as small as that makes everyone so much happier. And our operators love to do. I think that's what gets lost a lot of the time. Is we do get a complaint, take it seriously because our operators are very mission driven. And when they can figure out, oh, that small adjustment, they make their customers happy and everything gets a lot of it. one of our, quite frankly, it's one of our selling points. Make the customer happy, and
And then, Mr. Chairman, just one final question on a happier note. What was the organization that said best transit?
Sway and Living Magazine.
It said best in the DMV.
That's in principle, we are one of.
Who was, I thought it was a step before that you said.
So you're the most efficient.
Oh, the most, yeah, who is deeming that?
Us, we face it out. Society. Everyone's saying it's.
Yes. I just want to appreciate the work you all are doing relating to that app. Because I think last year I brought something up and you said y'all were figuring out some things. So to see that y'all actually took something that I brought up, but y'all were already someone working on it, and to see it start to be pushed, very appreciative.
Yes.
Just thank you, and thank you for the update as always, Dr. Schneider. Just a couple of things. One, to talk about the app. I would assume that will be part of our budget discussions for the budget committee this year.
Yes, because if we can figure it out this year, we may not be able to afford it next year. So.
Right. Okay, so I appreciate that, because to the point that the chairman made, that's truly one of those things that will take us to that next level.
Yeah.
That you talk about people that are existing riders, but also it's a selling point for new riders. Who can start talking about like, hey, now there's not this guesswork of when the bus is coming. I can check the app.
Yeah.
Especially knowing that there's going to be generations of folks that are either going to be graduating from high school, become commuters the next couple of years, or people are moving to the area. The technology is just sort of it's a given, it's assumed in most metropolitan areas. So I think the faster we can get to a point where that's a given and we have that, I think the better we'll be off on all ends. And my last one, Mr. Chairman, is also a question on the commuter garage. Can you give us an update on how ridership has been from there? Is there any evolution there or utilization there? Can you talk about that at all?
I don't have any specific data. Can I get back to you on that? So we'll have your staff.
Cause we actually, we got a note from Potomac Local asking how ridership was, and we actually did get some data from both the county and I think maybe you guys as well, and ridership is definitely picked up there. People are using the garage. I read the article in Potomac Local which was filled with inaccuracies. But if you live in the community, you know that people are utilizing the garage. And I think when we just did an event here,
And we know anecdotally,
Yeah.
but I would prefer to give you more
yeah,
details.
actually.
No, I appreciate it, because I appreciate that, Commissioner Grant, if I could. Not only is it being picked up, there's also a paid advertiser in Potomac Local who's putting out articles about it. Like it's posted like on the top of their page. So the more we can do educate the community on its utilization to counteract that information, I think will help this.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
I did want to cover one last, I was focused on getting through my information that I didn't think that the single most important thing that we're working on. DRPT has a process called merit, and so turn on your policy ratings for a minute. It was part of the 2018 establishment of the floor with the fuel tax. And part of that legislation required some type of performance measurement program for the state's transit allocation. You take the state transit allocation was really driven by how big your budget was. There was some other nuance, but I think that drives the conversation. So merit is measuring efficiency of resources and investing in transit, something like that. And we went through a very painful, about 8-9 month process that ended up being very rushed, because the legislation required. So if there was one thing DRPT told us back in 2018 and 2019, it's a very rushed process. We wish we had a year. We wish we could collect more data, but not every transit system in the state collects data. And starting out, we were going to lose about $1.5 million. This is talking about 2018, 2019 went up. Spend an unbelievable amount of time figuring out the data, and we were able to get that down to a loss of about $300,000 in our operating budget. But because the state recognized that what they were punishing was our volume of computer services. They also assisted its capital area. So it was kind of a makeup, and it didn't implement right away. The pandemic hit, so it kind of went all for naught for a little while. But meanwhile, it's been about 7 years since the state was doing that. Well, since summer, the state decided, hey, let's hurry up and do merit again, and we want to get it done within 4 months. So the thing that they really wish they could have had done over a year is now being rushed. And it doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense if we started looking at performance. So we asked for some of the data. We were initially rebuffed because I think the state, I know, the state wanted to present the data and then provide the information. Well, we can't provide comments if we can't get the data. Last time, had the state done what they would have cost commuter services, County, $1.5 million. We mitigated, and the state was thankful. We mitigated that impact because of the unintended. Now we're staring at examples where they're producing different scenarios where we can lose $1.5 million. We could lose $750,000. Fairfax is looking at scenarios losing anywhere from $2.5 million to $1 million, depends on which scenario. And I liken it to, and I use this example, it's a lot of moving levers. So you pull this lever up where, okay, we're going to give operating costs more credit. Because if you have a higher operating cost, you're probably in a more urbanized environment. Urbanized environment means lots of riders. So then they weight ridership really high too. Great. That's great unless you're a commuter service. Yeah. Where we have no less cost of operation, but low cost or low ridership. But the great news is we collect fares, and we are fantastic at collecting fares, which is why I know we're so efficient. Because we don't, from tax dollars, we use toll fares and we use fares. And that drops our operating expense extremely low. So when you factor how much we use the toll lanes, you factor our cost of operation, cost recovery, we blow the doors off of everybody in the DMV because we get the benefit of the toll lanes and we get the benefit of the grant funded programs by the state. They're not tax dollars, they're toll dollars, they're user fees. Well, unfortunately, nowhere in any of the scenarios or any of the formulas that they deduct for how the fares are collected. So we might have the highest fare recovery in the nation. That would not help us for that. It's an unintended consequence. And we're working with the state to address those issues. We presented the concerns. I've spoken to several CTV members. I have talked to the TISDAC membership, and I've talked with Tiffany Robinson, the director for PRTC. We had a very long conversation. She recognizes that we are a unique animal and that we are part of a Nova property that has a lower ridership volume. We have the data and we're struggling, quite frankly, to understand how the formula works. Phil's working now to replicate it, and we don't want to put him on the spot tonight because he just isn't there. It's mostly baked, but we have real and meaningful concerns. And this isn't just us. This affects Fredericksburg City and the FX Vigo, sorry, we'll have it. FX Vigo. This affects Alexandria. Some systems are only seeing an impact of $100,000. What confuses Phil and I is how logically we can lose $1.5 million, but Harrisonburg doesn't lose a penny in almost any state. What is distinct about a college check? So that's why we want the data. So we can understand when you start moving levers up and down, some systems win, swap them, some systems lose. So is it a net zero policy question? But I want to put this in front of you because right now, the scenario that we're looking at cost us $750,000 in operating expense. The irony is you're about to hear a presentation about our amazing commuter choice program. And we're going to ask you to submit something to CTV about how amazing the commuter choice program is. The irony is us participating in the commuter choice program hurts this number. And so that's the unintended consequence that we're working through. It's a policy issue. Again, putting in that policy act, we don't have a lower operating cost. We don't have other systems around the state, because they have a really low operating cost, but they serve maybe a lot of miles, they do really well on the formula. And so trying to create one formula that treats Blacksburg, which has a massive university population, Dash, and Arlington, which have hardcore downtown skyscrapers, like Prince William, it's going to be a challenge. But our commuter service is what is impacting us. And so I raised that because we're gonna be working aggressively throughout fall, raising this issue. There's a group called TISDAC, which is the Transit Service Delivery Advisory Committee. It has Kate Mattice of NBTC, Jamie Jackson of FFPGO sits on that, as does Cindy Messer, Paul Shirk. So you've got some really intelligent, thoughtful people on that. We're working with VTA, but we are fighting, to be clear, we are fighting. Pointed comments at a, pointed but respectful comments at a public comment section of the TISDAC meeting for DRPT. Sharon's been super supportive in helping us draft the proper language to ensure we get the data that we need so that we can crunch the numbers. Otherwise, we wouldn't even have data till this week. So we now have at least a week to figure out these numbers, but there's this piece of irony, and the thing that we are amazing at is punishing us in the state form.
Yeah, and that should probably be part of our legislative priorities, and obviously we have people in the state here, and so to level set.
Which.
And I will say it's level set, because you guys know I talk about how the General Assembly can always do more. It's, and you guys have been very helpful, but it's things like this that I'm talking.
You have these to deliver with them.
Yes.
I really want to.
First of all, it's cool to watch your Jimmy Neutron brain roll, you listen to that like. And you can see that roll, but.
But
That is
the
the
series is, I mean, when I talk about the General Assembly, it's things like this that I'm referring to.
Hey, we're gonna talk a little bit about legislative committee at the end, and wrapping up, so great meeting. Thank you. Any other comments, questions? Okay, so we're gonna call up.
I just had a question, and you talked about this a little bit, but like, when you say we have low ridership numbers, I guess I think that's confusing compared to.
Yeah,
Let me give you a great example. We take a full bus of 57 passengers and we transport them 40 miles one way, and then we report back empty 40 miles. So that 80 miles, we have moved 57 people. If you go to Richmond, that is pick an 8 mile route. They've done that 10 times with 30 people on and off every time. But they don't collect fares for that. And so and also when we're talking about these grant funded programs, we're starting to reset the language and understanding. These are grant funded, but not with tax dollars. These are grant funded programs of user fees paid by toll payers, which is voluntary. So part of our conversation that we're having is reframing this for the GRPT. That if you look at what the actual tax dollars, the mandatory required tax payments are, we have a much higher recovery rate. Our ratio of tax to user fee blows the doors off of everybody. And that's where we know that number, and that's an efficiency model. We are very unique because of the toll lanes and the ability to collect those fares. And right now we're collecting about $750,000 per month off of our mobile ticketing app, I believe. Is that right, Joe?
No.
Or 50, and
It's coming up off of me.
$500,000 a month off our mobile ticketing, and then we have the tapping. Wow. So we're recovering around $750,000 per month. Generates about $10 million a year and growth. Pretty good.
Yes.
I have two questions. So talked about some of these challenges we have. I guess my question is, how long do we anticipate that it would take for us to discern a resolution for the challenges that these people would keep talking about? Because I know we were analyzing the situation, but how long are we looking at coming up with a resolution for that?
Which you meant for the.
Are we back to the?
Public comment.
Oh, okay. We're studying that right now. Odds are it would be November, as we mentioned, then that would be the next, we had mentioned, our next service change is when we would be able to implement any time adjustments, but we won't be able to add in more vehicles and more trips. What would end up happening is we would just spread out the travel time to match the actual travel time of the corridor. So it doesn't give more options to the customers. It just gives them, we're advertising what we feel.
Within the app, we don't think that's gonna hit.
We don't want to speak to that right now. We're pretty sure which way we're going, but we don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. So we're hoping something in fall. I feel comfortable saying that. Not tomorrow. I wish. Yeah, it's challenging with an unfunded opportunity, so.
There's an issue, right? It's all about fun. All right, so hearing none other, we're gonna move on to our distinguished guest, Wayne, coming in at 6 foot evening, weighing a whopping 100, no. Anyway, Daniel Nickelbine, there he is. What is that? So, I don't know, did we need it? Did we want to give it a update? Yeah.
I was actually gonna do Russell to give the report,
Oh, man, thanks, hey, Tom, thanks.
I didn't know. If
Come on, we need it. Come on up here. That's awesome. Give it to her. Don't be the rest.
Okay,
Okay, thanks, Russ. I'm joking.
Yeah. If it's sugar staple.
right. The CI numbers, we're at about 90%, the managed sponsor passenger share ride. Passenger pickup as far as OTP is. You can see compared to, August of 24, how we increased our numbers, and we're looking to increase them even greater, once they come. Slide. You look into far left, in green, green and blue, July of last year, as far as missed trips were concerned, we were at 9. July of 2025, we had an uptick in missed trips. But as you can see in August, we brought them back down to where we're at about 4 missed trips for the month.
Sorry, I'm sorry, that's right. When I say 2026, can you go back to the previous, yes, it's 2026.
This,
A little bit. Oh, this year?
yeah. Oh,
That's what we agreed.
okay, I'll get back.
The other, but.
Oh, wait.
There we go.
One.
There we go.
No, one more.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah,
So it's fiscal year.
Yes, we reported.
did that answer the question?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can.
And the next slide is going to be the same as part of the year also. As you can see to your left, we have vehicle availability where we reached gold on this, as far as August and September. September, we were about 2%. Same thing for August. Miles between rolls, crawls, and interruptions. So it's a topic. Again, continuing to my left, we managed to reach gold in that, as far as August this year, 18,000 miles between service interruptions. That's all I have thus far. Any questions?
Okay. Any? There we go.
Not a question, just thank you for adding. I think last meeting, I wanted to see the difference from the previous year, so here's our appreciation. No problem, thank you.
That's soon. The soon.
That's 2 to 10.
All right. Yeah. We're good. So then I guess we can move on now and get. So thanks for that. Opportunity.
Wait, because we all people are. Yeah.
It's early, I like that. We don't have to get. We're not starting.
Nice to be back with you. My name is Dennis Combined Choice. NVTC. Here to present a quick refresher on the Commuter Choice Program and seek your approval to transmit the FY25 Commuter Choice annual report to the CTB, fulfilling one of our requirements in our MOA with the. So I'm pleased to present some highlights of NVTC's FY 2025 Career Choice Annual Report. 2025 brought some significant changes to the Western region, and Commuter Choice played a vital role in supporting Northern Virginia workers returning to the office. This year, Commuter Choice projects set an all-time record for ridership with an average of over 65,000 passenger trips each work week in FY 25, a 73% increase compared to the same period in FY 24. The Commuter Choice Annual Report also details the cumulative benefits of the program since it began in 2017. Since then, Commuter Choice has supported nearly 10.5 million annual trips on both corridors, resulting in an estimated 197 million fewer vehicle miles traveled, 1.9 million hours of travel time saved, and nearly 26 million in fuel cost savings. As travel patterns changed in 2025, Commuter Choice funded bus routes quickly reached capacity. We saw buses funded, operated by Connector, OmniRide, Loudoun County Transit, and Dash, with large ridership increases compared to FY 24. And we're proud of the role that Commuter Choice played in getting Northern Virginia residents to and from work, medical appointments, shopping, recreation, their opportunities. We also celebrated several milestones for Commuter Choice funded capital projects in FY 25, from the construction of a new parking garage at the West Park BRE station to the acquisition of 2 electric buses that Dash will deploy on the Commuter Choice line, funded line 35. And I'll just note that Commuter Choice is one of very few grant programs in the nation that can support both transit capital and operating. So at the end of FY 25, we had 33 active Commuter Choice projects located throughout the NVTC and PRTC districts. Of those 33 projects, the majority are bus service and enhancement projects. We provided funding for new or additional service for local and commuter routes, accessing key employment destinations, including the Pentagon, Roslyn, Boston, and downtown DC. So since the program's inception in 2017, Commuter Choice has funded $178 million in transit and other transportation projects across Northern Virginia that have helped reduce congestion, improve travel time reliability, and give commuters new transportation options. And before I conclude, I do want to highlight the strong partnership that the Commuter Choice program has built with OmniRide that Dr. Bob mentioned earlier. Since 2017, Commuter Choice has funded 32 OmniRide projects totaling nearly $39 million for new or enhanced bus service on 6 commuter routes and 3 local routes, purchased 9 buses, and funded a portion of the PRTC van pool monthly incentive program. With the federal return to work earlier this year, several Commuter Choice funded OmniRide routes saw huge ridership increases compared to the same period in 2024, none bigger than Haymarket to Roslyn, which registered an astounding 92% ridership increase in our reporting sample period between 2024 and 2025. To conclude, we're very proud of the partnership we've established with OmniRide and appreciate PRTC staff's hard work in ensuring Commuter Choice funded projects are a success. That concludes my presentation. I'm happy to take any questions.
I don't think we have any questions for it. Yeah. Anybody? That'll be your response tonight.
Okay, both positive. I got it.
Very good. Thanks. Thanks for that. I don't think we got the question. You've done it all. All right, well, we do have a motion though, for the exact time. So I need a motion for this. Okay, we have a motion, Commissioner Bailey, second Commissioner Bodie. Any discussion? Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman, thank you, Daniel. Joking aside, no questions, just
Yeah.
appreciate as always working with you. on the commuter choice program. It continues to be a really good boon for Omni Ride, but also the entire region. And again, as some of the larger projects, the BRT or Fairfax winds down, I know I'm a broken record, but I think that there are opportunities that we have, especially handshake with the fact that NVTA 2 months ago approved their sort of regional BRT program. To me, it would be a missed opportunity to not synergize all those together, considering we are the hub and the spokes of the entire region when it comes to those different processes. So really looking forward to working with Community Choice folks next year to really start looking at not only the enhancements that we've already had, but looking at some of those larger capital costs that have been out of reach to us.
Thanks for that. Any other comments, questions? Hearing none? Thank you, sir. All right. Yes, sir. So we got a motion, we've got a second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the ayes have it. Thank you very much. Yes. All right, getting into my time. So just real quick, the budget committee, thank you all for volunteering for that. Christine's gonna send out a online meeting for you all to meet, so you'll be getting that from her soon. Leading to your comments about the legislative committee, I need volunteers for our legislative committee. So do we want to do that now, or do you want folks to get back to you?
No, let's take volunteer.
Let's do it. Okay. Well, I've got 3 right here. Why didn't you take it? So we've got Commissioner Stewart. We've got okay, I mean, we are the obvious stuff. Did I say none of that? Oh, you got it. Oh, I'm sure. Oh, you. Okay. They'll work it together. Okay. So. And I think you can't get it all. Let's talk about I'm sure we'll go. Bob's on the plane.
So what we do is we have a kind of hard deadline of a December 1 legislative agenda because you have to approve it at this meeting in December. So what we do is we basically start meeting online, 2 sessions. One is to talk about what the priorities are. We really won't do a lot of work until after the election, because it kind of depends on what's happening at the state house that shapes a lot of this.
But all of our guys are coming back, where you can talk to me. Sorry, did I say?
What we do is working with the chair, we kind of do a survey. She and I will just kind of do a survey of issues in the region, bring that to you, identify top burning topics, and then post-election gather to then finalize the agenda. And really what we're doing is working through the language and you giving me feedback. It's 1 or 2 relatively short meetings. It's emails. The distinction for the legislative agenda that's a little bit different is historically, I've been the one to go that. Something Supervisor Frank and she was thrilled about is having people go down. Especially because, with but we saw this a couple sessions ago where a lot of new members were meeting, there's new bills being passed. Not all of them are maybe as fully baked as maybe sometimes we love them to be. So to go down, have me be hey, it would be great if, it's wonderful if I have an elected official sitting next to me saying it would be wonderful if. Whether you're, it doesn't matter because we have friends on both sides of the aisle. Our service is from Front Royal, Warrenton, all parts of Stafford, South City. We are a transit and bad traffic is a part of the issue. So to go in and have that kind of voice to give me that assistance is going to be really, really important, especially this cycle as we get new members.
I just wanted to add that our goal will be to approve the legislative agenda at the December PRTC meeting. The legislative forum that we have along with NVTC and VRE is scheduled for December 15th. And we would want to be able to distribute our legislative agenda to the state officials who are there at that meeting.
Okay, so Gordon, do you guys have a deadline yet for when you have to file your bills?
There's, the hard deadlines are in January, but there are preferable timelines that you get very close to in December.
Okay. Like, so for an example, majority of my bills, I already have by end of November. So if you're coming to my office for anything additional, I'll see. If not, so Josh Thomas, you got some space over here, or?
All your stuff's gonna die.
Not much, not with the house.
Anyway, yeah, no, that, the to be to the point, that timeline is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I will say maybe in the future, we consider those timelines. I know in Prince William, we're moving our process up because,
Right.
you know, we've been informed that it's more helpful to get it as soon as possible. That's the first thing. And the second thing is, and we can talk about this when we start to meet, but it'll be helpful if our jurisdictions can also include in their legislative priorities what PRTC and VRE and whatever other commissions we sit on are also part of what your county and locality is also pushing. Because it may be extra helpful to the
Now,
commission.
that's gonna be great when you all meet and get together. Question real quick, do we have enough? Raise your hand if you did volunteer, and did you capture all the names, and is that enough? Folks for the. So, Ms. Short, are you, Kim, you in, did you? Yeah.
Short, Gordy, and combination of Smith and. Steve was there.
Yeah. All right.
Did I miss anything?
Just to remind everyone for the budget meetings, budget committee will be meeting online. What we do, just to refresh, it's been about a year since we did this, we have one meeting online. And if you can't make it, it's not the end of the world, because then what we do is we find a different time, you want. With all the times we made sessions, and then we use that was unbelievably helpful for when we got to our presentations throughout October, November, and then finally in December. So just a reset from where we were a year ago.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Just to underscore Commissioner Franklin's comments, do the timelines match for this organization and localities to all be synced on their legislative agendas? Because I would go as far from her comments to say that it would probably be mandatory for them to all align to get the critical mass you will need in the upcoming budget environment. I also sit on the emergency committee to deal with the federal reductions, and we're looking at very, very, very large holes in the budget. And so I think it would probably behoove us to have all the localities that are affected by this organization on the same shoot. So that changes the timelines that we were just talking about that we should change.
And I think honestly, with the legislative committee, that's a real discussion. We're trying to figure out how all of these are gonna sync and make sure we can almost have one voice going in with all these. So
One thing, and of course, we can talk about this, we actually meet. Maybe even if we still don't approve until December, we can have a sense of what we want to push. And maybe that'll be helpful enough, at least knowing,
You've all got senators, delegates,
It's
all your
really-
jurisdictions.
you know, and we can, let's talk about it.
On your warning word.
Yeah, I'm just really getting a warning.
It's coming. In general, not everything on our legislative agenda might hit all the agendas. Key is we're gonna have several universal items. And those bullet points will be locked in, and I think that will make the difference.
and while we're here, yes, okay. No, because mine is just wrap it up. But
Mine was just another point of, no matter, the executive branch is changing no matter when. So we're getting new secretaries, et cetera, come January, so just keep on doing that too.
now, I just want to point out, the budget members are Bodie, Holmes, Luna, Moore, Smith, Thomas, and Young. For the budget committee, so that's that committee, and then the legislative committee, you just heard, you all just raised your hands, so that's that committee, and then you'll get dates, online dates of both of these at the appropriate time. Okay. Yes. Oh, you want to be on budget? Okay, he wants to be on budget too. All right, so. There you go. Okay, so that moves that. So let me just give a couple of quick updates. So our very own Joe Stansby over here, he's gonna be a speaker, a presenter at this It's the Regional Elected Leaders Initiatives Fall. I can't even read my writing, but basically it's a whole leadership thing. And he's one of the speakers, so it's an online webinar. I sent the link over to Christine to send out to you guys if you want to support him and listen in on these transportation topics I know we're talking about. So I wanted to give you that shout out. There you go. Secondly, Supervisor Ware, we're doing, we're doing a celebration of life at his headquarters, Giuseppe's, on 27th September. I don't know the time. I haven't seen the flyer. Do we know a time on that? 1 to 4 p.m. Do you have any information on that? Because then we can just.
No, I just remembered reading
Okay.
that and
I'm gonna work on getting that
see.
flyer or whatever info to you, then we'll send it out.
And there's a post about it on the Gainesville Magisterial District
Okay.
Facebook page. I'll send that.
Okay, and I think that's it for me. So now just moving into commissioner's time and other business. We'll start right here, man.
Well, how about this? Excellent week, Mr. Chairman, excellent. Great to be back. Have a good.
In my spare time, I'm a little bit of a democracy nerd and I try to keep up with what's happening. And if you've been paying attention to the Weldon Cooper reports of late, they're showing that by 2050, Prince William County will be at 700,000 people. Stafford will be at over 200,000 and Spotsy will be over 200,000, which is an increase of about 209,000 people within this corridor that OmniRide serves. The other interesting statistic that they have another feature, the commuting patterns. And for Prince William County particularly, there are 167,000 people that leave the county and 80,000 people that come into the county every day. So when we think about the amount of movement, the number of people, and therefore all the opportunity that exists for OmniRide and trying to minimize that amount of traffic that's on our roads, we can't expand these roads much more. We just can't keep building out. We've got to find alternatives to our transportation network. And so, especially as we start to think about, and I would just, even I'm, as a supervisor, are rethinking how we have to do residential development in our district. And because we have to create the density and the synergy to make transit work. So because building roads is getting extremely expensive. So if we're going to meet the needs of our future, I think, at least for me, looking at a different way of trying to deal with the growth. And but that's something you haven't looked at the Weldon Cooper's information, highly encourage you to do so. It's very valuable. So thank you.
Mr. Short, we went backwards. Floor is yours. Okay.
Back, look forward to the end.
Yeah. All right. Brings me back. We're beginning now. All right. Yeah. Yes.
There's a lot going on that area. It's important. It's important to get our track space. I know it takes everybody for the area to make it better. We talk about the service. Last one, somebody was telling me about the October 3-5 night for people to be able to in October. People to be able to try it out and take a break.
We do promotional activities.
Yes, so I'm looking forward to that. So I'll see you. Hey, for
No comments.
Y'all hit majority of what I was gonna say. We're back in session in 4 months from now, so I won't be here January, February, or March. Now on record. just call it to rock and roll. Oh, and if y'all have any issues, please reach out to me at DLJThomas@South Virginia.
That's.
Recorded and put it up on it.
Yeah, who we got? Who's next?
I'm just gonna take over with that Commissioner Gordy said about really looking at how we imagine getting people around the county. And because we've said this often, right? We've gotten better at getting people around the county, but we're still mostly really good at getting out and back during the rush hour. The more we can really focus on getting people around the county better, the better quality of lives our constituents will have. Especially as we continue to reestablish and in some cases revitalize major employment corridors like the Sudley corridor, like the Parkway corridor. We have a lot of growth coming in this area. And the more we can begin planning that now, as opposed to again just relying on lane miles, the better off we will be. So I just wanted to uplift it and ditto. So I'm all, as you know, I'm also a policy demographic nerd, so I've been looking at some of the same stuff you have. But also just really wanted to say, welcome back, everyone, and really glad the kids are back in school.
Oh, nice. Wonderful. To see the place and it's really good.
Good to see everyone, good to be back, and I will be missing our next meeting, but we'll be here up until then, doing subcommittee meetings and then right out here.
The good doctor is going to take us in. One brief piece of information for those who are going to the celebration of life for Supervisor Weir. Giuseppe's has no parking.
Oh,
Nothing in that area has parking. So someone who hangs out in Haymarket a lot, that's my lodges, my friends, etc. There's an Aldi parking lot, grocery store, park there, you just walk out to the street. When you turn the corner, you can see Giuseppe's. It's like walking through the car park. It's just not that fun. They're just putting that out there so we're open to. Move to adjourn. Second.
Got a motion, second, all of the family.